Welcome to the Gamers Inn. Come on in, pull up a chair next to the fire. It looks like you've had a long journey. I'm your host, Jocelyn, and joining me, as always, is my co host, Ryan. Hello, Ryan.
Hello, I made it. We made it. I'm so tired.
Aw, what's wrong with you?
It's been a long
I mean,
week.
other than the obvious.
Wait, what's the obvious?
Wouldn't you
Did you?
like to know?
I would. I kind of plan on living this weekend.
So, how are things with you?
Eh, no, they've been good. One of the great things about having a crazy busy week is that Friday just comes so much faster.
Yeah, I was really busy this week too with all of Joel's birthday stuff. The whole week I literally couldn't believe it was Friday already. I just about like 2 hours before the show, I like turned to him in the kitchen. I'm like, wait, it's Friday, right? And he was like, yes. I was like,
Yeah,
okay. I'd been thinking about the show and, like prepping for the show all day, but I was just like, what if it's actually like Wednesday and I've just totally lost track of all of the time?
that would mean you'd be super prepared. So nothing's gonna go wrong tonight.
Well, the thing is, I was looking back over the news from the last week and nothing happened. Like, nothing. I was trying to put together quickfire and I'm just like, wow, this one's a stretch.
Oh, are you kidding me? Well, I think I took four news items happened, and I took I
You
took
took
all
them
the good
all.
ones.
Yeah.
Because I was gonna say Nintendo put their foot in their mouth again.
Again, shockingly.
Yeah, it's like they want you to win
hmm
this non-existent bet we have.
But yeah, so I mean, there wasn't a whole lot going on this week in gaming, but I mean, what did you do? What have you been playing?
Um, you know, I actually only was able to play one little title this week. I played some bigger titles the last couple weeks, but I figured this week just gonna focus on an indie title. I'm not gonna take credit for finding this one. It's sort of been making the rounds on other video game outlets and stuff, but it's called Papers, Please.
Yeah, so I've clearly never heard of this one because, again,
Oh,
you are the indie darling, not me.
that's what they call me. It's on my business card. I
So,
I don't know. I don't like being called a darling, but
it's right up there with
anyways,
Queen, right?
shut up.
I'm
I
never gonna let that go.
What do you mean let that go? You're the one that made the mistake.
I
I'm
know, but then
obviously
it was
not the one.
hilarious, and so I'm just gonna keep calling back to it every week in one way or another.
Well, I mean,
Enjoy.
if it results in me getting a little crown in the Miiverse, I'll take it.
I'm gonna make you a crown, and I'm gonna bring it to Nertacular.
Okay, that's weird. Yours, Please is this little title. It's free. It's in beta form right now. It's free. It's actually available on Mac and Windows. Um, it is about you playing as a border patrol sort of passport dude. I don't know the
Oh,
technical
I
term.
totally thought it was like an update of like Paperboy.
No, this is way better than Paperboy because you're ruining lives while trying to save your own.
I would argue
It's
that Paperboy ruined some lives too. I mean, he threw
never
papers
played
through
that.
windows.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's not fun. Why would he do that? In this one, you don't break any windows, although there are explosions sometimes. So let me set it up here. It's a country has been in a war for 6 years, and finally the war is over, and they've opened their borders again to the rest of the world. And you play as the stampy dude at the passport office letting people in. And basically, it starts off as a detective game. They give you a rule set at the start of the day saying, okay, today we're only going to allow citizens of, I can't remember the country. It's a fake country, but it's like Russian sounding. It's like Arkivanstan. That's not it. It's not Arkivanstan. Close enough. And okay, so the guy walks in, you hit the next button, he walks into the patrol office, you see what he looks like, he hands you his passport, you pull it over into your inspector window, and you say, okay, he's from Arkistan Van Tan, and you stamp it, approved, and you let him through. And then sometimes there'll be people come in and they'll say like, oh, I'm not from Arkstefan Brand Stand, but I am from Argonia or whatever, and I still want to come in because my family's starving or whatever. Obviously, you can let them in and get some money, which comes in a little later, or you can deny them so you don't get written up by your superior officers.
I see.
Yeah. So when a day ends, you're given a certain amount of salary and a certain bonus for allowing each person in, I think. And then you have to spend that money, which I didn't realize until the third day when my family was starving, cold, and sick. You have to spend money on rent, medicine, and heating. So I'm like doing this job, and my family is starving and dying. My son is dying of a very polio, I think, which isn't funny. That's not funny.
I'm sorry.
No, I was commenting on myself, but yeah, it's interesting. It's free, and it's just this little title, and it sort of progresses from there, where it starts to turn into this sort of detective game where you actually get a detective mode, where when they start applying these new rules, like you need to make sure that their passport isn't expired, you need to make sure their passport matches their photo, and if something is incorrect when you sort of compare, let's say you compare the person in the booth to the photo on the passport, it obviously doesn't match. You have the option to interrogate. And I did that once, and the guy said, "Oh, I had plastic surgery. It's no problem. I just, I'm fine. That's me." And I'm like, okay, because if you let him in, you get more money, right? So I let him
Hmm.
in, and it turns out he was a terrorist.
Oh, way to go.
He kind of
So,
blew up a couple border patrol officers, and then that's like a fail state, and you lose the day basically, and you have to shut down the office. But it's
so
pretty dark.
you go from your regular job, you come home to relax with video games, and you play a game where you're just a government employee stamping passports.
Yeah. See, I wanted to play something hard hitting,
Uh,
and it's this interesting little game. It's something I've never really played before. And Al in the chat room saying that there are a lot of like metrics, but you can compare like weight, height, take fingerprints. I don't think I got that far, but that's kind of interesting. That's
well,
hardcore.
I don't know. It took you a while to find out that you had to feed your family, so you might have just overlooked it as not important.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Well, the thing is, though, is like you're told right away when you've made a mistake, which is interesting. Because if the guy who's watching you telling you made a mistake, you'd think he'd say, oh, don't let that guy in, you made a mistake. No, he lets the guy go through, blows up a couple border patrol officers. Then you find out, oh, he was actually
Oops.
a
Can I
terrorist.
still come back tomorrow?
That's the funny thing is they actually do let you come back to work every day. It's kind of weird. You'd
So it's
think that.
just it just repeats over and over and over again a day with a whole bunch of people coming through. And so what is the end goal? Is it to earn enough money to take care of your family or to catch a certain number of terror? Like how do you know if you've won or does it just keep
Um,
going on forever until you're a millionaire border guard?
I, I don't think you get it. I don't believe there's an end. I haven't got that far yet. Alan, chat room saying that there isn't an end, but the
Hmm.
game, I'm not sure if it progresses forever, but it's kind of like a roguelike in the sense that I think if there's a lot of fail states, so I'm pretty sure when your family dies, then you lose the game.
Huh.
So,
So
uh,
there's a way to lose but not a way to win. That sounds like your kind of game.
Yeah, yeah, they're saying the beta is only 15 days
Hmm.
long, but I think they're working on an endless mode, and it actually got greenlit on Steam just yesterday.
Right.
So,
So I was a little bit confused about the whole greenlight thing when it first happened, but greenlit games on Steam aren't actually funded by Valve in any way, right? That just means that they have been voted by the community to be released on Steam.
yeah, it's basically like when they say it's been greenlit, that means Valve has approached the developer or is approaching the developer to say, "Hey, welcome to Steam," and then they kind of work out an agreement,
Right.
and there's that 30-70 split or whatever in
Mm-hmm.
revenue. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But the beta's free. Check it out for sure. We'll have a link in the show notes. Definitely
Sounds
worth your
good.
time.
So all I've really been doing this week, I have been gaming, but what I've been
Hmm.
doing is I've been playing PvP in WoW. And I know we've talked about this before, and I do very much still enjoy PvP, but I stopped because of the XP gain. Like, I was just flying through levels, and Joel couldn't keep up. So, not couldn't keep up, that sounds really mean. Um,
He's busy.
he is. So I've been trying to find things in WoW that I can do that don't give me XP. So what I did was I tried doing it without XP turned on because there's a guy you can go to in Ogrimmar and turn off your XP, but then you can only play with other people that have turned off their XP, and that was not fun because those are
Oh,
the
weird.
people. Well, those are the people. it's the thing that I didn't know was a thing.
Twinkly dinks.
Yeah, those
That's
guys.
not that's not a term. It's
Oh,
twinking. I was
it's
trying.
okay, but it's
If I had
stop
gotten you to
toying with
go
me.
around AI event, hey, there's this twinkly dink that just keeps killing me. It's not fair. And
Oh
then someone
man.
makes a Skinnamarink Doo joke, and
Yeah, it would just be bad news. But anyways, so um, there's
uh,
like these people with like 3 times the health that I have because their gear is just so ridiculous. And I was just like, okay, I'm gonna leave. Bye. Like it was bad. So then I started playing a couple of times, like, because what you have to do for Children's Week is you get an orphan, and they're these
eat
little
those orphans.
companions that have been orphaned by the war between the Horde and the Alliance. And then they ask you to do things for them, like take them to really cool places around the world, and buy them ice cream and toys and stuff like that. And it's really cute. It's really fun. But
They're
to
neat.
get the achievement, you have to do feats of strength in PvP battlegrounds, which is like capture the flag in Eye of the Storm, change a flag over in Arathi Basin from Alliance to Horde, or I guess Horde to Alliance if if you play on that side. Which I mean, come on. And then we have. Oh, was it? There was 2 more. There was one Warsong Gulch. You had to recover a lost flag, and I can't remember what the other one was, but
Oh
um,
man, I remember doing that like years ago. I'm
oh
pretty
my
sure you had to
god.
capture a flag.
Well, what you have to do, basically, the other team has to get your flag. You have to kill the guy that's carrying the flag, be the first one to pick it up, and then take it back to your base again.
Oh,
Yeah. And like I went into everyone and I just typed a little message into the instance chat and I was like, "Guys, I'm really sorry. I don't normally PvP. I know Children's Week
that's your
really."
first mistake. You don't admit that. It's PvP. They're ruthless.
I know, but they're supposed to be on my team.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. The internet, man. It's just you can't admit defeat before you even start.
Anyways,
Were they
I
nice? I
apologize in
guess.
advance. Most of the time they're nice. Sometimes they joke because at first I started just using acronyms because I was like, oh, I'm going to be so elite. And I was like, I'm just here for my CW achievements, blah, 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 blah. And they're like CW and then started talking about all kinds of things that start with C and W. And
Like CW Network.
yeah, but
It shows
rude.
supernatural.
And they were trying to guess guess. I'm sure everyone knew what I was talking about, but and I was like, no, Children's Week. And Children's Week and all those things that you just said should not be in the same conversation. But
Yeah.
yeah,
So
so
did you get your Chivos, your
I
achievements?
did not. I was only able to get one of the 4, and that was the changing the flag over in Arathi Basin, which actually is a map I really enjoy. Like that PvP experience was probably the best one I've had so far because I was doing pretty much strictly Eye of the Storm
Hmm.
when I first started PvP a couple months ago, and that was because it was the Eye of the Storm weekend, so I got bonus points. I was like, I'll just keep doing this one. This one, like, it's pretty straightforward, right? So the map is
Right.
also wide open, which is good and bad. Um, so I ran through Eye of the Storm like 6 or 7 times today, and I couldn't do it. And twice, I was standing there waiting for the flag to spawn. We had 3 towers, and I'm sitting there waiting for the flag with my orphan out. And someone else on my team is standing right there. The flag spawned, and we both clicked at the same time. And his cast like went like, just before mine did, and I was like, "You douche!" Like,
You
come
should have
on.
slapped him.
I was so ticked off. I was like, oh my god, there's no one around. This would have gotten me my achievement. If you just let me get my achievement, then I would get out of your face and you could play your PvP all you want. But no, now I'm gonna have to come back again.
That sort of reminds me back in the day when I was playing, my friend had a slash spit macro. So if anyone ever pissed him off, he just mashed that thing. It was funny. Yeah. He was undead, so I mean maybe
Oh,
technically at certain points like bits would start coming out, like
ew, gross.
his tongue or his I mean
Jaw.
you're Horde, you should be used to this by
Yeah,
now.
yeah, true. But yeah, so I haven't got my achievement yet. There's 3 days left, I think, Saturday, Sunday, Monday of Children's Week. But I work Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So I was trying to do it today because I thought, if I do it when there's not a lot of people, I won't get in anybody's way. I can just, get my stuff and go. But yeah, it didn't really work out. So I'm going to try doing it tomorrow night, I think, and just go when there's lots of people playing and just be like, I'm just not going to say anything. I'm just going to sneak over, stand by the flag, and then grab it right at the very beginning, because I saw one other girl do it, and that's exactly what she did. Is she just ran in, went straight for the flag, grabbed the flag, and went back. And I have such a problem being like not a team player because I played a lot of sports growing up. So if there's somebody in there who's obviously knows what they're doing and are really, really good, and is like, okay, guys, here's our strategy. We're gonna do this, 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 and this, and I'm like, okay, like I can't go and do my own thing until all those things are done.
Right. So kind of the opposites of the Toronto Maple Leafs, is what you're saying.
Yeah, shut up. We're not even
Hey,
gonna talk about that.
Montreal didn't fare much better either. They're playing right now. I don't even know what the score is. So I'm curious, doing these Children's Week achievements, you having fun doing them? Because you
No.
don't really get anything for doing them.
Well,
You
that's
should.
not true. There is a reason I'm doing them is
Oh, what's
because
the reason?
I am trying to get the What a Long Strange Trip It's Been achievement, which is
Oh,
completing all the achievements from the world events. And so I started and I got all the Noble Garden achievements, so that was Easter, but those are really, really easy because it's meant to be like a beginner world event. Like it's made for like low level players. There's no
right.
bosses to kill, nothing like that. It's just kind of an exploring one. Um, and then, but Children's Week has this PvP one, and if you don't get the achievement, then it's going to be a whole other year before I can actually get this. And when you get the achievement, you get a really cool mount, really cool
Yeah.
mount.
I think I last time I played very seriously a few years ago, I was going for that as well, and I think all I needed was a couple of Halloween, Brewfest, and some Christmas ones.
Hmm.
So in terms of your whole achievement thing, where did you start, and like, are you sort
Um,
of caught up all the way to Children's Week, or?
Well, when I started playing WoW, it was a year ago last Easter because Noble Garden was the first kind of event, right? So I started just before Easter. I think we bought our annual passes in March of last
Mhm.
year. So I played, kind of experienced the event, got used to playing in WoW and stuff. So when my annual pass expired and Noble Garden was coming up, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna see, if I can actually do this. And because I mean, I know I'm gonna play WoW. I love playing WoW, so I think it's interesting and I enjoy it. So I got everything for Noble Garden, but like I say, that was easy. So Children's Week is the next one. So when this is over, I will know if I'm gonna be able to continue on this year or not. And I think what I'll probably do is just keep going as if I had gotten all the Children's Week because I've got everything else from Children's Week. It's just
Mm.
this one. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think you need to. Yeah, I think you need to. Yeah, I mean, I think maybe that's why I got burned out of WoW because I was trying to do stuff that wasn't really fun and wouldn't really amount to anything but a cool mount after
Mm.
working so hard for a year. I'm not trying to discourage you. I'm just thinking
Well,
like,
everything
do you have
else.
an alt that you could play?
Everything else that I've done in Children's Week has been fun.
Oh,
It's
okay.
the I would enjoy this PvP thing more if the achievement was like win the battleground with your orphan out instead of like you specifically having what dirty.
This
Anyways.
sounds funny. You could have exchanged orphan for anything, and it still would have made me laugh. But I see what you mean. Like PvP, especially to me, like PvP, you can't force it to be fun. You sort of have to, like when I played, you kind of have to pick what's fun. Like you don't. So if you hate Arathi Basin, you don't keep going into Arathi Basin. You know what I mean? So I think with having those specific goals in mind, like I could still have fun in Warsun Gulch and never touch the flag. So
Exactly. That's the thing. Like, I found that I had fun doing things when I didn't have a goal. Like, when I was just PvPing for the sake of PvPing,
mm,
that was fun. But I got stupid amount. Like, my first win in Arathi Basin got me like 330,000 XP. And I'm almost 85, but just doing the PvP stuff this afternoon, I went from 1.7 million out of 4.5 of the way through level 84, all the way up to 3.5 million out of 4.5. So, I mean, I'm blowing through levels. It's insane. Like
Um,
you get so much XP, and I was rested too, right? So
mm,
I'm getting like 10,000 XP every time I kill someone, and I'm DPS, so all I have to do is put one arrow into somebody, and
good
then
job.
I get help, I get XP for whenever that person dies.
Um, and didn't I read or hear somewhere that they're speeding up the levels
Yes.
from 85 to 90? Like that I heard that and I
85
was
to
so upset.
92? Oh
Oh,
man.
I
I
thought it
was
was
look
like
I was looking
or
forward to hitting 85 because then I was like, okay, now I'm going to be able to take my time. Like Joel and I went to Deep Home at level 80. We only did the questing in Deep Home and we hit 84 and a half. Like,
Mhm.
and it's just one zone in Cataclysm. There's so much more content and we didn't even see it because and Deep Home was really cool and really interesting, but we leveled through the entire expansion
Yeah.
in one zone. And I was just like, this is so stupid.
Yeah, I heard that when they were increasing sort of like the speed at which you would level up in the new Panda content, I was sort of upset because it was like, oh, well, I bought it. I still would like to get through it at some point. I mean, I have a character at 85 that's ready to, get down and dirty in Pandaria, but like haven't had the time to get back into it. And now that I know that I'll only be able to experience two out of the however many zones there are because I'll
Mm-hmm.
level so fast. And I don't ever plan on, I can pretty much guarantee this, I don't ever plan on leveling an alt,
Yeah.
from 1 to 90. Like that just does not appeal to me.
I've got my
But
panda who is level 30.
yeah.
And the reason that I'm leveling her up is because I really wanted to try the dual spec of tanking and healing on one character with the monk. I
Oh.
thought that would be really interesting and cool to be able to switch between those on the fly because they're total different ends of the spectrum, right?
Hmm.
Um, but I don't like her. I don't like playing a melee class. I like being farther away and casting because it's just you can't see anything when you're meleeing. Like it just even if you zoom the camera right out, half the time you're standing inside whatever you're fighting. Like
Yeah, that's true. This the way that game works is
mm-hmm.
when you're melee, you don't get to enjoy sort of the animations and stuff because you're
Exactly.
right up in their grill, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a far back casty dude as well. I
Mm-hmm.
like to I'm my warlock. I kind of miss him, but
Well, and that's what I think I need to do is have another casting like a warlock or something.
mm,
I played a shaman and I liked that one, but I only played it to level like 15 or something, which I find is totally the problem. Is I get things to 20-ish around there and then I'm just like, "Oh my God, this is so slow. I'm moving slow. I'm not enjoying the content because I've already been here on three other characters and I'm just like, oh man, so slow. I'm thinking of starting a Death Knight only because they start at whatever 55 or 60 or something. So,
yeah, the intro content to the Death Knight is worth trying, and it takes a
and
couple
Lich
hours to
King
get
so
through.
far is my favorite content. I really
Oh well,
liked that expansion. So,
you'll love being a Death Knight, especially like the first few levels because it's all Lich King.
hmm
So
so that's what I've been doing. So I really hope that next Friday I can come and I can say, dude, I got my PvP achievements. But I have to be a little bit more selfish, so we'll have to see. The chat room
yeah,
is telling me that tanking is great, and I agree. I think tanking would be really fun, but
well yeah, tanking is fun, but like tanking. I never tanked an instance, but I'm just so stressful. I could
yeah,
never
true.
heal or be a tank. It's like I could be, oh my God, that was all my fault. I killed everybody. More so tanking than
Yeah.
healing.
So what have you been playing anything else this week, or are you pretty much that was it? We both had really busy weeks and weren't gaming
Mhm.
much.
I don't know how much time do we have.
Oh, we
Should we
got
move?
time.
Good time. All right. I'll quickly talk about Tomb Raider video games with women in it. Tomb Raider's great. The main character,
The
Lara
physics
Croft.
on it are really good, right? Of her
Okay,
hair.
you make that joke. Oh, okay, you may, but I see what you were getting at. Tomb Raider and Lara Croft have come a long way since the PlayStation days. This new game sort of throws all that silly crap out, and you get what I feel to be a real sort of grounded female character. And I've been saying this before. It's like we need more female main characters.
Oh, absolutely.
It's and this game really holds up that end of the bargain, and it's a lot of fun. It sort of reminds me of a mix between Uncharted and sort of a Metroid sort of like item collection, where
Okay.
you're given this map, and it says, "Oh, you can collect all these different things," and some of them are just random collectibles, and others are like, "Oh, I found a pot. It's a pot from the Japanese. Oh, I turned it over. No, it says made in China. Never mind." And that's actually a thing that happens
Oh,
because you
really?
can like inspect the models and stuff.
Ah.
So I think that was one of my favorite moments. But when inspecting vases, that is. Um, and you can collect like these journals. They give you the audio journals. So similar to like BioShock, you get some
Right.
behind the scenes story.
Which
Um,
is one of my favorite parts of the BioShock franchise is the finding all the backstory and information, whether it was those tape recordings or the dictaphones or whatever. I always liked getting those little tidbits of information and trying to put the story together before the story gets there. Yeah.
yeah, it's the story is like your typical sort of Tomb Raider story in my mind. The story wasn't really the thing I went there for. It was the action. The gunplay is really great. I don't know if you've seen like the sort of like set pieces that they put together for you in this game. Like there's
I
this.
haven't seen any of the I've seen
Oh,
like little bits and pieces of like screenshots and trailers and demos and stuff, but nothing really. Oh, and I did see a really funny glitch video where if you, it's like she's in a cave and there's it's like one or two candles or something,
mm-hmm.
and you turn her one way and like I think into the candlelight and her shirt disappears. It's
Oh,
like total glitch, but I was just like, oh man, they would find that glitch in Tomb Raider. Like, I wonder how often they try to make Nathan Drake's shirt disappear.
I don't know. I would not know either of those informations, but yeah. They leave it to gamers. This is why we can't have nice things, people.
It
You
was
put us.
one of the first things. It was like, it was 2 days after the release or something, and it was like huge glitch in Tomb Raider, and I was like, oh my god, what's going on? And then it was like her shirt disappears. I was like,
Can I just make a recommendation to people who would look for that sort of stuff? Like you posted it to the internet. I know you know how to use the internet. Go to Google, turn safe search off, search for boobs. You can thank me later. All right. Tomb Raider, you're ruining. You're
advice from Dirty Uncle Ryan.
Yeah, well, I mean, I want more games where we can play as these female leads, and if people are gonna act like this, it's like we can't have nice things,
Yeah.
you know? And yeah, the like I said, the action is the gunplay is really solid. Year of the Bow, continuing to be awesome. You can totally like shoot an arrow into a guy's head. It's gruesome. This game's pretty freaking violent. Like,
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, I remember when I played Tomb Raider like years and years and years ago, the first original Tomb Raider, like it was still like it was kind of gory. Like I remember like shooting the wolves and thinking like, "Oh man, that sucks." Like they had really realistic like yelping and there was a little bit of blood splatter kind of stuff, but I mean, obviously it was a long time ago, so it was, not the level of gore that we have now, but it was still for its time. It was skirting the edge there a little bit. So,
yeah. And you mentioned like animals and stuff. This one, there's like a hunting mechanic where you can kill animals for XP,
hmm.
uh, and weirdly enough, like scavenge nuts and bolts from animals so you can
Oh,
upgrade
really?
your stuff. So there's like an upgrade mechanic where you can, make your bow stronger, add like explosive arrows and stuff. I don't know how the grenade got into the backside of a deer, but that's where I found it. Um,
You're not
uh,
asking questions.
no, this is a weird island. I mean, you're gonna slowly experience that this island has some weird stuff going on, and a grenade coming out of a deer's rear is the least of your worries. Um, but the set pieces, there's this great set piece where, are you
I'm
okay?
sorry.
What?
Just continue.
Okay.
I'm gonna mute
Um,
my mic.
okay. There's some great set pieces in this game where just they set up these like really elaborate sort of Rube Goldberg sort of devices where Lara Croft is just constantly being bombarded with just horrible things. And I don't know if you've seen Jurassic Park 2, but there's a great one where she hits like a glass pane of an airplane and she has to reach up for the parachute and put it on before the glass breaks. And then she
That's in
falls.
Jurassic Park?
Jurassic Park 2, I think it's sort of a similar situation where in Jurassic Park 2 they're in that this the part of the
Oh, the RV thing. Oh, I
yeah.
thought you meant that in Jurassic Park 2 there was the airplane scene, and I was like, I don't remember an airplane scene like that in Jurassic Park 2 at all.
I
You must be on something.
I didn't explain it very
No, you
well.
didn't.
I'm not on anything. If anything, I'm on the opposite of on something. I just haven't get enough sleep. Uh, but one of my favorite parts of this game is the satisfying climbing mechanics because you start off just kind of like, oh, jump up to the ledge, grab up, get up, and then it sort of progresses to now you have a pickaxe and you can jump towards special ledges and just freaking slam your pickaxe into it and climb like that. And you can just progress normally climbing up it, but you can also jump mid climb and then slam your pick in again. It's this just everything they put into this game is just really they put a lot of work into it and it really shows. And it's setting itself up for some more Tomb Raider.
Oh, good.
Surprise. I'm sure there'll be a sequel down the
You
road.
mean
And
gamers or game companies are planning for sequels? Ryan, that doesn't sound like them.
I'm really excited for a sequel. This was one of those games where I beat it, got like 96% collectibles, and just like was depressed that I had finished it,
Aw. And
Like it's just
is it
it's
still on sale? It was on sale for like 50% off or something crazy like a week ago.
yeah, it was 50% on Green Man Gaming, and now Steam Official has it 50% off. So if you, Jocelyn, you should just go
I know.
scrounge up like loonies and toonies off the ground. I mean, anything.
What kind of
Just
city do you live in? Because I'm telling you right now that Halifax does not have loonies and toonies just laying around.
oh well, in Peterborough. No, kidding. I guess it'd be really tough to find loonies and toonies in the maybe like nickels. I don't know.
You
But
can't
this,
find pennies anymore.
yeah, this game is really worth it. Definitely play it on PC because of the I couldn't run the hair tech. Do you have an AMD card? Yeah, I
Yes.
think I should this. Yeah, you'll be able to run the hair tech.
Nice.
It's exquisite.
Because that's what I look for in my games.
Hair is something the games.
I make that joke, but then one of my biggest pet peeves with Mass Effect is that all the chick hairstyles are short because they don't want to make it like, have to do hair physics, or they don't
Exactly.
want to make it look like Lego hair, right? So they don't do long hairstyles, and I'm like, I kind of get it because you're in the army and you're a badass, so you should probably have short hair because then people can't like be the Phantom and grab your hair and slice off your head or something. But still, just
Yeah.
dang
I would
it.
think it's like space future where your hair just perfectly stays in whatever
Space
style you put it
future.
in. Um, that's my excuse.
Uh,
Mass Effect. They have a Mass Effect field in their sort of like
Keeps your
scrunchie.
hair in perfect stasis.
Mm. Yeah, just and I mentioned the game's really well put together, and it's also another game that Jeff Keighley did his final hours sort of treatment on. And
Right.
I went through that as soon as I finished it, just read through that entire thing, and this game has had a long development, and it's really interesting to see, the progression that they had, and it was supposed to be like this. I remember when they had leaks like years ago, where the new Tomb Raider was going to be like a survival horror, and you
Mm-hmm.
actually get to see parts of that because they actually were going down that route. It's just super interesting. I'm loving the behind the scenes on all these games that I'm picking up. So. Yeah, highly recommend it. If you don't buy it, then uh, Lara Croft will be sad, I think.
Aw.
Yeah. You don't want to make British people sad because.
Very true. Very true. So, Ryan and I really appreciate your continued support of our show, along with the support of our sponsor, Doghouse Systems. Use the code TheGamersIn to double your RAM when you purchase a new gaming rig. 4 becomes 8, 8 becomes 16, but 16 does not become 32. That would be insane. Head on over to doghousesystems.com and get your order on. Which brings us to quickfire news.
Mmm. Pirates get a taste of their own medicine. Game pirating is a big issue, and a lot of companies believe they have the best solution. The developer behind Game Dev Tycoon took an interesting approach by cracking their own game and uploading it to popular torrenting sites. However, the crack set pirates up to fail. where their companies in-game would go bankrupt due to everyone pirating their games. The message they receive in-game is, "Boss, it seems that while many players play our new game, they steal it by downloading a cracked version rather than buying it legally. If players don't buy the games they like, we will sooner or later go bankrupt." The article also features some hilarious support tickets, including one user asking how they can research DRM. Really great story, with the true message being support your game developers.
Sleeping Dogs is coming to PlayStation Plus. So apparently I'm getting completely gypped by Microsoft for my Xbox Live Gold.
You can't say that.
All it gets me is access to the Xbox network so I can play with my friends. Having never had a PlayStation, I've never had to look into Plus. I saw this headline go by and I was like, hey, what's Sony apologizing for? Turns out, nothing. Part of the perks of being a Plus member are free games, and this month's lineup includes Sleeping Dogs. Very cool. Released in August 2012, not even a year ago, Sleeping Dogs sold over 2 million copies. It will be available for free May 7th for PlayStation Plus users. I am so missing out.
You didn't know that PlayStation Plus gives you all these great free games?
No, I've just lived in
man.
my little Microsoft bubble, and it's bursting, Ryan. It's bursting.
Welcome to the future. I don't know what that means. Surprise! Everybody, surprise! A new Call of Duty. That's the surprise. As expected, Activision will release yet another Call of Duty title later this year on November 5th. Being touted as a new sub-franchise, we don't really know much about Call of Duty Ghosts. Its live-action teaser trailer showed off a bunch of warriors in masks and a crumbling city in the background. VoiceOver explained the different reasons why a squad, or I skipped a line, why a warrior would wear a mask, concluding with a squad of what looked to be freedom fighters. The title is confirmed to be releasing on PC, Xbox 360, PS3, and next-gen consoles. No word on Wii U. That's going to be a common word said right here. The full reveal will come during the next Xbox reveal event on May 21st.
Peter Molyneux on Xbox, a Fable MMO, and Curiosity. It's been a year since Peter left Lionhead to pursue other projects, but he was privy to next-gen info at that time. Although he says he isn't sure if Microsoft has stuck to their plans, he does say that he hopes they stick to making it the best possible gaming console and not get snared into the does-everything entertainment device trap. One of the rumors of the next-gen Xbox console is a Fable MMO. According to Molyneux, the idea of a Fable MMO is not new. It was an idea tossed around when they were trying to figure out what they would do next with the franchise. He believes the world lends itself to an MMO and thinks it would be successful if they hang on to Fable's sense of humor. For the record, we still have not reached the center of Curiosity, but Molyneux and his team revealed that there are only 50 layers left to go. Get tapping.
What? They actually said that it might like the layers would go away coinciding with the Xbox event. That was a rumor I read.
Really?
So, yeah, I mean, that would be pretty interesting. It would kind of suck though if
really
the Xbox was
off.
in there.
I would be so angry because I mean, like, Curiosity, I can't remember exactly when it came out, but it's been out since like November. And like I have the app on my phone. I've been clicking away ever since, and you know, like, it's one of those things that has taken so long now, and you're just like, you know what? It is the internet. Like, you would think that people would have made it to the center of this box by now if it wasn't infinite. So then you start to feel a little bit gypped because you're like, well, I don't know, maybe there isn't anything in the box. Maybe that's the big thing. But, you know, like, if it somehow coincides with Xbox somehow or Microsoft at all, like, if it's, I don't know, if it's anything like that, I'm going to be really angry. Be like, so this was, instead of being a really cool gamer experiment, now this is just a gimmick to help, like, hype up your Xbox. Like, you know what? Screw you, I'm going to Sony.
Someone who would be really negative would probably think like, oh, they came up with this super huge idea and then sold it to the highest bidder, which was Microsoft, who bought Molyneux back after he left, and then put the Xbox in the cube. That's probably not it. It's probably just a coincidence, although it is really weird that it's taken like 8 months to get through this cube.
I know. I never thought it would take this long. I thought it would take a week tops. Like, that thing must have been huge. Like, I literally, the first, like, week or two, I was just like, oh my god, I have to log in because, like, this thing's going to be gone before I even know it. And, you know, this is the internet. There's people around the world that are going to be, you know, tapping away at that box for the entire year, or entire 24 hours in a day, right? So I was just like, oh man, this is going to be gone so fast. And, you know, I really want to know what's in there. So for the first few weeks, I was like, oh my God, tap, 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 tap. And now I'm kind of like, oh, I totally forgot about that thing. Like,
Right.
it's probably been about a month since I was tapping away at it, but it's because it got to the point where I was just like, you know what? I don't think there's anything in the box. I don't think that the box ever actually ends.
It's
What's in
Gwyneth
the
Paltrow's head.
box?
Oh, we didn't say what movie. It was actually no, I can't. I was gonna mention that Kung Fu Panda. It's Kung Fu Panda 3. That's what's in the box. Nintendo has an excuse for why it delayed early 2013 titles, and it's kind of what everyone was worried about. Iwata said the delay was partly caused by the fact that Nintendo had to pull developers off of their games to get them to help finish the Wii U's release titles. Those launch games, he said, required more development resources than expected. Back when the Xbox 360 and PS3 launched, studios had to scramble to realize just how much was required to make a AAA HD game, and now Nintendo has learned that lesson 8 years later. And more awesome news, wait, in more in awesome news, that doesn't make sense because that wasn't awesome before. CVG has spoken with executive level retail representatives who are saying that Nintendo is planning a huge push in Wii U software starting in July and continuing until the end of the year. Too little, too late? Well, who knows? Because during that, Mario 3D in October, by October. I'm really looking forward to this. Please don't suck.
E3 still has some of the big guys on board. Invites have gone out for Microsoft's press conference at E3. They will be going first on June 10th at 9:30 a.m. Pacific time, although their hardware will be revealed at a separate event a few weeks prior, which is the May 21st date. They are followed up by EA, Ubisoft, and Sony. Looks like Nintendo was the only one to bow out from a large presentation this year. With all the next-gen buzz, it should be an exciting show.
Eternal Darkness lives on in Shadow of the Eternals. IGN has revealed a new game from the creators of Eternal Darkness that is being billed as the spiritual successor to the GameCube favorite. A teaser trailer shows off the new game with a promise for more info on May 6th when the crowdfunding launches. Holy crap. And not a few hours after it was announced, leaks already started to show up via the developer's website, which was cached. We see info for the crowdfunding goal, platforms, and other details. Upon news of the leak, Precursor Games confirmed the goal of 1.5 million, the launch on PC and Wii U. Yes. And that it would be an episodic experience consisting of 12 episodes.
I'm going to round out quick news with something that's not really news, but is super cool. An infographic from dailyinfographic.com it is an infographic from dailyinfographic.com that will help you figure out what video game you should play. It has everything from WoW to Portal to Zelda built into an easy to follow flowchart. I love the bottom right corner. Do you long for an 80s cartoon? Yes. Proceed to DuckTales. Woo!
That's why you were singing that.
I know, I was singing that in the pre-show. There are other qualifiers such as what type of game you want to play, how much you want to use your brain, or if you want to use motion control or not. I've always felt motion control is gimmicky, but I know Ryan feels differently, which brings us to our topic of the week, which is gimmicks in gaming. Now, this is brought on by the Illumiroom proof of concept video, which I think is the dumbest name for a product ever, and I really, really hope that they're going to change the name of this product. But anyways, essentially what it is I'm not sure if it's actually made by Microsoft or not. It was the Microsoft research thing, I think, was branded on the video, but
yeah.
Anyways, it's a combination of a Kinect sensor and a projector, and it plugs into your video game console, clearly an Xbox, and then projects an image onto your wall, and it essentially extends your monitor. So it does other cool things, like when you're, in Borderlands, when the edges of things are kind of like highlighted or put into higher contrast sort of thing, it can make your whole room look like that. It reads the shape of your furniture and the colors around your TV, and it does really cool effects with that. They also showed firing a gun and that causing ripples through the image, and it was interesting. Ryan, what did you think of it when you watched the video?
It's really, it's neat. It sort of hedges on the fact that, like, okay, it certainly doesn't allow you to play exclusive games for this Illumiroom, you know. I don't think you would ever require one of these to play a video game, so I'm not sort of that makes it even more of a gimmick to me. But I think it's neat. I like the idea of having like the gunshots kind of come at you like and bleed through the
That was
screen.
something, is that if something exploded, an explosion would go out past the edge of the screen, or if there were lasers or gunshots or bullets flying by you, they would come at you like they would normally in a game, but then they would come out of the screen at you. So it kind of had a little bit of 3D to it as well.
Hmm.
It was, like we said, a proof of concept video, but I don't know, I will not use it, but I am more of a traditional type gamer where I like to sit in front of my TV or I like my screen. I don't really like, I don't need oh my God, I can't even make sentences. I'm so
Well, this sort of
on the
feels
fence about
like
this.
in comparison, like let's look at it this way. Like you want to see a movie, all right? You have the option of sitting down on your couch and watching a Blu-ray. Or you have the option of going to the theater and having 3D, moving seats, surround sound, blow your eardrums out, volume levels,
Hmm.
okay? So it's sort of like that. Like I could just
I
sit down
guess.
and play Skyrim, just on my console without this shiny thing. Or I can go like balls to the wall and have this like lit thing with peripheral vision and
I think I find it distracting more so
yeah.
than enhancing. That's a really good way to put it, I think, is
Mm,
that, you have your core game experience. It's not just like watching it on a projection. You have your core game experience and that doesn't change. This is using the existing engines to interpolate away from the monitor. So it's showing you more of the room than you see in the normal game, using the space around you to display that, which is a cool idea. But again, I feel like it's gimmicky, and I don't know if this is something that you would need a whole entire other rig. Well, I guess you'd have to because you need the projector, right? So, I mean, it's
yeah.
yet another piece of extra where it's just like, you know what, I feel like we're getting far away from core gaming, from mechanics and story and all the things, graphics and music and sound that make video games what they are. And they're trying to pull more people in by saying, oh, this is such a cool experience for this one time, for this one game, but you'll probably never use it again. It feels too much like they're trying to sell products, and I'm really not on board with that. I wish they would just
Yeah.
spend their money making better games.
I I predict you are going to be a little disappointed by what Microsoft has to show for their next gen console because
Yeah.
I think this generation it was really easy to ignore all the gimmicky stuff Xbox was doing. Like the Kinect, you could ignore.
Well, I
There's
still
nothing.
don't have one.
Yeah, exactly. There's nothing there. It's similar to the PlayStation with the Move. Sony made it even easier to ignore because they never advertised it or made anything good for it.
Hmm.
But the Xbox sort of had like these compelling features, but they weren't, the
I
Kinect
miss
wasn't a.
voice command. I think that that's something that I would have really enjoyed in
Hmm.
Skyrim and Mass Effect in particular, is being able to command my teammates with my voice and organize my inventory with my voice.
Yeah,
Also, doing shouts at the computer would be very exciting.
Foss do
Froda! Whoosh!
I always mix it up. But yeah, like I think this time around is when you buy an Xbox, they're saying that you are going to buy a Kinect as well because it's going to be packed in. And I know a lot of people who are like I can already see it. Like they make that announcement and you're going to be like, "Great, I'm paying $500 for and they're making me pay an extra 100
I
for
was gonna
like
say,
this
yeah, an
stupid
extra
Kinect
100 to
thing."
150 is for the Connect and that support and capability and stuff. And
Yeah. And everyone goes and buys a PS4, which is literally, I'm pretty sure when you buy a PS4, you're going to be buying the system, one of the new controllers, and maybe a camera, because I
mhm.
think the controller has like the thing built in. But
And that's really interesting. It does. It has the move control is built into the next gen PS4 controller. And another thing that they have, and it's not in our notes, and I'm sorry, but I was like, I know there's four things, and I totally forgot about the fourth thing, and I couldn't figure it out. Touch control. The Wii U
Uh,
pad, the Microsoft Glass, the new little screen on the controller with the PlayStation, like, is that something like you have a Wii U, so this is something you've actually experienced. I haven't bothered with, again, I'm not a gimmick person. I like to sit on my couch and push buttons. So,
you really aren't. Yeah.
yeah, so
Um,
do you feel like the touchpad really adds to your experience on the Wii U, or is it again another gimmick?
when I'm playing games so far, um, the Wii U is a poor implementation for playing games with it because it only works sometimes, right? Because my best example I can think of is Zombie U, but even then, the touch screen isn't meant for your finger, so you sort of have to treat your finger as a stylus and stab the screen,
Oh,
right?
I was like, what's it meant for then? Does it come with a stylus that you have
Well,
to
yeah.
keep right there too?
Well, that's the thing is that if you're playing Zombie U, it's all about like reaction and getting in there and doing things quick. So you can't like, oh my God, there's zombies around me and flip out your stylus and try and do everything, right? So it works, but the great
So wait, wait,
thing,
wait. So is there a stylus?
yes, sorry, there is a stylus.
Really?
It's like inside the system. You didn't know that?
No, I didn't know it had a stylus. Jesus.
You pull it out of the top, and
Oh,
no,
Nintendo.
it's not a capacitive. It's like a stylus, but your finger does work.
Just not as well.
Just not as well. So I guess I should backpedal a little bit. It's not that bad, and it is really cool when they use it well. But when they tie like gameplay important features to it, it can get annoying because it isn't very responsive.
Hmm.
But navigating menus and going on the shop with that touchscreen is amazing. And even with the Xbox, the Smart Glass, I will connect my phone to my Xbox so I can type on it and do messages there rather than
Hmm.
like
Oh, I never
figure out the
thought of that.
stupid
That's
thing,
actually a really good idea because that's obviously the worst part about ever doing anything on the Xbox. Even with I have the number and keyboard pad thing that you push onto the bottom of your controller. I have that, but
Oh,
even
really?
then, man, does it suck to enter things.
Yeah. Well, it's like you're on one of those old Blackberries, right?
Exactly. The keys are so tiny.
Yeah, I can't do that. But yeah, no, the touchscreen stuff, I
But
think,
then again, so what you said about the touchscreen stuff is that you use it for non-core features, for sending messages, for looking through the shop. Like these aren't like core game functions. So do you think that it adds to the gaming at all, or do you think it detracts away from it?
well, the Wii U is sort of a special case because also that screen just isn't about like touch. It's also about having that second screen experience,
Right.
more so than what you're getting on Xbox. On PlayStation, a little different. They have the Vita, but I think they're sort of treating that as a sort of a second controller with a screen as opposed
Mm-hmm.
to putting key functions and information on the second screen. So that's one of the greatest things about the Wii U tablet, not just the touch, but also just being able to display information and because when I'm on my Xbox, I can't be with a controller and an iPad and my iPhone all on my lap, like, all right, I'm ready to rock, let's do this. So at that point, it starts to become gimmicky on the Xbox, but the
Yeah.
Wii U sort of justifies it by going all in a
Mm-hmm.
sense. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But a lot of people would say that it's like, you're still holding a giant tablet controller. It's still weird. It still
Well,
feels
and but the
gimmicky.
thing is, weird is okay. Like with
Mhm.
all of these things, weird is okay and good, and you want to push boundaries and you want to move forward because if everyone just made the same controller over and over again, then we wouldn't.
You'd be Sony. They've been doing that for like 15 years. I
Yeah,
mean, the DualShock's a great controller, but I agree with you. The reason I keep buying Nintendo titles or systems is because they're always doing something different.
they do try new things,
They
whether
do,
that works
yeah,
for
they do
them or
try
not.
new
They
things.
try new things. Very, very true. And one of the new things that they tried is motion control, and we did touch on that. And I've never, I know you own a Kinect. I've never owned a Kinect. The only motion control that I have experience with is the Wii. And I'm not a huge fan. The only time that I feel like motion control was ever enjoyable for me was with the Harry Potter titles
Mm,
because you are waving a wand to do something in a game and it's much more immersive. But to point a sword or shoot a gun or even just like move a cursor around the screen, like just motion control is just I don't enjoy it.
mhm.
Like it's never been something that I felt has enhanced my gameplay with that one exception. But I've never played with a Kinect, and I do still like the idea of me being the controller in that I don't have to hold something extra in order to interact with my game console. So, what's the experience like in the Kinect? Like, have you enjoyed it? Is it worth it, or is it just, again, another gimmick?
It feels it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel as though it's gotten to a point where you can say, "Yep, Connect is where it's at." Because every time I've played on Connect, it feels slow. It feels sluggish. Like I'm not. I, I'm trying to mirror what's on the screen to do moves as opposed to just doing it and then
Right.
having the screen react. Like Fable Journeys is a great example where if you're doing the magic stuff, you're always feeling like you're trying to mirror what's on screen by shooting your magic and whatnot, as opposed to just being like fireball,
Right.
lightning bolt, you know? So in that sense, like maybe Connect 2.0 will fix those issues. It'll be more responsive. That's the biggest issue is the response time
Right.
and sort of the recognition. It's not there right now,
Mm-hmm.
which makes it feel like a gimmick because
It's not as
it's
good
not
as it could or should be.
exactly, and it just feels, yeah, it just feels like a gimmick at that point. But maybe Connect 2.0 will be up to par, and therefore it won't feel like a gimmick. Therefore, uh, making sense that it is packaged with every Xbox.
So, do you think that they've made a mistake by rolling out these gimmicky type things? Like, obviously, this whole Illumiroom thing is still a proof of concept, but we've got motion control, we've got touch screens, we've got 3D, which is something we haven't actually had a chance to touch on yet, but I'm not a fan of 3D either, shockingly. I swear to God, I'm a fan of things, just not
Not
these things.
for today. Well, that's gimmicks. I mean,
Yeah,
there's a reason we call them gimmicks. Some people see them as more than gimmicks. I mean, the 3DS, just touching on 3D quickly, yeah,
right.
3D on the consoles, yeah, I would consider that a gimmick because it was this thing for 2 or 3 years where every other game supported it and
Mm-hmm.
Sony was really pushing it. But then the 3DS comes along, it's you don't have to wear
Glassesless?
glasses. Yes, thank you. To see the 3D, it works when you don't break your perspective, but it works nonetheless, and it's actually really cool. But again, it's a gimmick on all the other platforms, I believe. But
Al in the chat room has just said that gamepads are gimmicks. But yes, PC gamer there for sure, which is, nothing wrong with that. I
wouldn't
love
call
gaming
gamepad's
on my
gimmick because I play all my PC games, and when it makes sense, I play them with a gamepad. Like I have my Xbox controller there with me at all times when I'm
hmm
playing PC games.
But yeah,
But
so sorry, back to my original question there. So do you think that if they had held on to the Kinect and waited until this gen and released it with their next gen stuff, do you think that more people would have got on board with a more responsive, really good Kinect? Do you think that they rolled it out to get people used to the idea of having a Kinect in the living room so that it was a given for this gen? Like, do you think they made a mistake with their rollout time on this, or what should they
um,
have done with their motion control and glass as well? I would argue glass as well because, like I say, I play on my Xbox and I've never used glass, and the only thing you've used it for is writing messages to friends and stuff. And well, that's useful. That's not an in-game function, right? So
yeah.
should they have held on to that stuff and not have tried to race it out there to compete with Sony and that
Well,
other company?
keep in mind, Nintendo, keep in mind that this console generation has gone on, a long time, like 8 years,
It's been a
seven or eight
long one.
years. Yeah, a lot longer than usual. So these sort of devices work in twofold. One, they extend the generation. Like the Kinect sold really well, and sort of in when you actually look at it, it's like, oh, it's a camera that follows you and makes you do moving move stuff. Oh, that's weird. Considering how well that sold, that's pretty crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But two, it's a proof of concept. Like now that Microsoft sees we can sell 10 million Kinects, well, for sure we're going to put more money into it and make it better and package it in with the next Xbox because everyone's going to want one.
Mm-hmm.
If we force them, it's sort of like hard drives, right? Like Sony forced us to have hard drives in our PlayStation 3, whereas Microsoft didn't. They gave you the option, which
Mm-hmm.
sort of hurt a lot of games.
Yeah,
Which
definitely.
you know?
Because,
So,
well, my Xbox didn't come. It just came with the 4 gig arcade version.
right.
And yeah, I mean, I lasted like that for maybe 6 months. And then I was just like, okay, this is ridiculous. Because, like, this DLC that I want to download is going to take up my entire hard drive. So,
Yes, and I mean, not even just DLC, but also some games use the hard drive for optimization.
right.
So you couldn't even play, well, Halo 4, I mean, without a hard drive. You
Hmm.
couldn't play Halo 4 multiplayer. So I think it's a proof of concept. But then again, it works both ways, whereas, Sony should have realized that the Move, nobody wants it, yet they're still holding on to it for dear life for some reason with the PS4. It is a functioning and much better,
It's a
more
better
accurate,
implementation.
yeah, of the Wii, but and also Nintendo is supporting Wii Motion Plus, so that's interesting, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. These companies just feel the need to hold on to these things, and in the case of Nintendo, I feel the Wii Motion Plus works a lot better than the old school IR stuff.
Mm,
But it'll be interesting to see because all three platforms are still holding on to these motion controllers.
right.
Um, I don't know. We'll see how it folds out.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens. I guess May 21st and E3. See what's going to be going on there. So that pretty much
Yeah.
brings us to the end of our show. You can visit us on the web at gamersinpodcast.com or email us at info@gamersinpodcast.com. You can find us on the AMove TV network along with other fabulous podcasts including Starcast, Campaign Roundtable, Biggest Fan, and This Week in Blizz. Follow us on Twitter. You can find me, Jocelyn, at GISGamer. Ryan is at R. Murphy, and don't forget to follow the show at The Gamers Inn. You can also find us on Facebook and Google+. Before we go, I just wanted to give a quick shout out and thank you to my brother Greg for creating our awesome music. You can find him on Twitter at SoundsInfluence. We would also like to thank Joel Duggan of Starcrossed Online, who drew our Twitter avatars and created our logo. You can find him on Twitter at Joel Duggan or read his comic at starcrossedonline.com. So thanks for staying at The Gamers Inn, and remember to tune in next week.